Hello and welcome to the Stamping Society's February tutorial in which we are creating projects using the Dainty Delight bundle. I'm Angela Meiritz-Reid of Stamping Beauty in Christchurch, New Zealand, and this is the card I'm going to be creating. If you would like to purchase the written tutorials for all our projects, please click on my blog link below. The tutorials include all the products and measurements to create our projects. And if you live in New Zealand and would like copies of the current catalogues, please message me. I'd love to send them to you. Okay, let's get started. I've got a basic white card base, and for something like this, the thick cardstock is really good. It gives you a nice secure base. So I've scored that. I'm just going to fold that in half and then burnish along the edge. And before I start on this panel, what I'm going to do is watercolour all these pieces here so that it allows them to dry. And what I've done, this is quite a good way, because with watercolouring the paper does tend to buckle as it's drying. So what I'm going to do is just on this scrap bit of paper, just put a little bit of Stampin' Seal and pop that on there, just a little bit, just to hold it in place. Spread those out on that paper. And then I'm going to bring in the colours. So the first one I've got is Sweet Sorbet, and need my water painter, and I'll just bring in my chamois so I can just clean off my brush with that. So you can use your ink pad or you can use the ink refill, just depends what you have available. So I'm just going to add a bit of water to that. So you might have got a little bit much. Might come back to that when I start here. So just want to add some colour to that, and if you want a deep colour, just add a bit from the ink pad. And if you want to get some variation of colour on that, although it won't matter too much because they are layered on top of each other, we can sort of dry it with your heat tool, and that blows the ink around. I'll just show you. And if you want to, you can add splatters, but as I say, these are quite small, so it doesn't matter too much. So it doesn't take much just to get these coloured. Just make sure your water painter hasn't got any ink left on it. So you could make these quite pastel-y if you wanted, or bright like these ones are. And all the colours are listed too. If you want to get a few dark patches, I just find lodging it on like that works. They look pretty, don't they? There's something about rainbow colours. And Orchid Oasis. And lastly, the Gorgeous Grape. And that's done. So that's fairly quick and easy. Sometimes what I do is do a bigger sheet and just leave them in a folder, so I've got colours there if I don't have time to do some watercolouring. So I'll just give those a little zap and then I'll set them aside to dry properly. Okay, so I'll put those to one side. And the next thing we're going to do is this background, and it's just got another bit of scrap. So what I tend to do is put that on there, and I'm going to add a little bit of Stampin' Seal on here, and then that will just hold that in place while I'm colouring that. And I've got Pool Party for this, and also a bit of scrap paper, I find, just so I don't get finger marks or any smudges, and just hold that onto there. I just want to leave that open because what I tend to do is take some ink off here and just add it onto here, just so it won't get a big blob, hopefully, on here. And then I just want to do that sort of circular motion around here, so I'm just going to do circles. Blend it in. I do like the Fluid 100 for blending, but the colour is quite creamy, so on a white background it's a little too noticeable, so the white does look better, but it just takes a few moments just to build up the colour, and over time it will sort of blend in a little bit. It sort of absorbs into the paper. And I just want to take the ink a little bit out, just to blend it a little bit more into that background. Look, I've created a little bit of a blob there, but that won't matter because it will be hidden behind the bow and things. Draw out that colour a little bit, just fade it out. So I think that looks okay. And then what? Oh, actually, I might just add a little, make it a little bit darker in here. Okay, that's good. So next, what I want to do is just add a few splatters, and to do that, let's make sure that is nice and clean. I'm just going to flick some water onto here from my water painter. You can see it takes out the colour straight away, so you can see that there, it's taken the colour out. So I'll just try and do a little bit more up here. So that's enough, so that's good, so I'll set that aside to dry. And then the next thing I'm going to do is do these pieces here. So I've got a piece of basic white cardstock, and I'm going to pop some adhesive sheet onto the back of that. Doesn't have a tendency to stick to your fingers. Put that up against that. Nicely, that bit there. And that is a little bit too long, so I'll just trim that off. So otherwise it could end up on the plates of your die cutting machine, which is a bit annoying. Just try Yeah. Okay, then what I want to do is die cut, and it's with this lovely big sort of leafy die. So I'll bring in my big die cutting machine. So what I'm going to do is put that on there and as close to the edges as I can. And I want to run that through twice. I just find that when it's got the extra layer with the adhesive on the back of the cardstock, it just needs a little bit extra. It's come out all right, so I'll pull that one off, set that aside. I'll do that again, get that as close as I can, so I don't waste as little as possible. And you can keep that. I just pop it back in the packet, and you can die cut in those spots later if you need something sticky. Got the sticky back. Take that through once, and then take it back. Sorry, it's a bit jiggery. I wanted just you to see how I was arranging these on here. Sticking a little bit in that middle piece, but hopefully it will be okay. Third one. So I'm sticking, 3 of them is going to be stuck together, and the third one's just going down flat. Just to give it a bit of interest, and because I always find the shadowing adds a bit of interest to your card as well when you've got things layered up. And then lastly, this proof will be in the pudding that I've got this piece big enough. Yes. So that's all that die cutting. And then just while I'm here, I've got on the card just 3 of the white ones. So I've just got a strip of white here. Just got this wee group of, there are 4 flowers in this, but we won't be using them all. I'm going to nestle them into each other. Just go. Sorry, I'm not making you seasick. Just take those off. And just poke that out. Oh, see, it's come out now itself. So do 1. And we need just 1 more set. Let's run that through. that out of the way. And then what we need to do is firstly get rid of all that rubbish. So what we're going to do with these is 3 of them we want to layer on top of each other. Let's get those out of the way too. It's good to have clear decks. So what I'm going to do is one of those is just going to be on its own. Probably don't need to take those out actually. They should, I find quite often when you take the sticky off the back, that pulls them out of this, any bits out. See, that's pulled that out beautifully. That's just where the joins are on the adhesive sheet. And then it's a matter of lining it up onto here. And I do find this is quite forgiving if you can just sort of line it up. And until you've got it in exactly the place you want, and once it's in place, then I give it a firm press down. But until then, I just work my way up. And once it's in place, give it a really good firm press down. Just be gentle because they're quite delicate, those little leaves. And then we'll do it with one more. You can tell where the adhesive sheet is because it's just got a slightly cream look to it. Definitely easier to do it in the daylight than in the dark. And then we'll do the same again. Just pop this onto here. That up. And there you've got your 3 layers, and then that one's just the 1 layer. So what we're going to do is bring this back in here, and I pop that bit of tape on, so if you just twist it, it comes off. And actually those blobs are a little bit bigger than I would have liked, but that's okay, it's going to be covered. So I'm just going to turn that over and add some dimensionals to the back of that. So I just want to get a reasonable amount down so that you get a nice sturdy layer. That hopefully is enough, and then that is going to be added on to the background. Take off all those backs. And once they're off, you just want to pop that on your card. Get a nice and even from each side. And then we're going to add these pieces here. So this one is going to sit sort of about there, it's just coming off the edge a little bit, and this one's going to sit in behind it. So I'll take the backing off. Done. And then that is going to sit sort of about coming from there to down to there. So I'll just pop that down there. Stick that on, so that does cover quite nicely those extra little blobby bits. And then this piece here, brush out of the way, I'm going to do the same thing, take that backing off. If it won't come off where you try and just move along to find somewhere that's a little bit easier. Done. So that is going to stick just slightly above, round, and then just off the edge a little bit. Give that a really good press down. You want that to stick well. Then next we're going to create these little flowers, the little white ones. So what you need is one of these foam mats. They work really well, and the stylist, and I'll just pop that on my take your pick tool, either end, the big one or the small one, it doesn't really matter. And on these flowers, I've got all these bits, I'm not using those big ones, I'm using that second size in and the smallest ones. Pop all those out of the way, and then just to create that sort of nice lifted look, 3D look, just twirl it around in there. Just going round and round. And the same with those, just give them a little bit of a push in. And then what I did is add a tiny drop of glue just in the centre there, centre. And then tweezers are quite good for this, just pick that up and pop that into the centre. And then just set those aside to dry. And then while they're drying, we can get it on and do some of the other little pieces on there. Just get so you want to do a couple of things. You want to do the Celebrate You and also tie the bow. So we'll do the bow now, so that's done. So I've got a piece of the crinkle white ribbon. You just want to have a tail coming down here, and then just do a loop. It's however big you want your bow to be, and then another loop here. So they're about the same. You can adjust it later, but it's a little bit easier if you get it at least fairly similar. And then another loop there, and then you just take this around the back and then tuck that up, so that ties around there, and then I pop my middle finger through there and pull that tight. You can adjust where that goes, and then what I do is pop my fingers in those loops, give them a tug, and then if you pop them onto one finger you can see that they're all a nice similar length. Actually there's way too much there, so we'll trim those to be the same length. So that's all done. So we'll have I'll have a play around with that when I'm going to put that onto the card. And so we may as well go ahead and stamp the sentiment. So that's done in Versamark and with the white emboss powder. So I'll just get my, use the embossing buddy. It helps stop the white ink sticking to the back. So I'll just see, oh that's not sticking to that. And I'll just give it a good, obviously I hadn't pressed it down hard enough before. Right, that's better. And then we'll pop that onto here, and it doesn't matter about being straight, because we're going to fussy cut that. And just pop some white embossed powder onto that. That looks good. So I'll just heat set that, so I won't be a moment. Right, so that is good. So I'm just going to quickly cut around that, which doesn't take too long, but if you don't like fussy cutting, you could find a die that works for that sentiment. Just it's a little bit fiddly, but not too bad. You can, if you don't really like fussy cutting, you can just do it as minimalist as amount of fussy cutting as you can. You know, don't go in to all the corners. Right, so that is done. And so now what I'm going to do is die cut all these. So get everything out of the way. So I'll bring back in my pieces, watercoloured pieces. And now I've just lost that little die. Hopefully that will come. Did it slip under there? Hopefully I'll find that in a moment. That is, oh, here it is, right in front of me. Probably yelling at me, are you? Saying it's there. So those, they just twist off. So I just find it keeps the colour from sort of pooling in one area by making them reasonably flat. And you're watercolouring them. I'm just going to run these through. Pokey tool out of my take your pick tool. So, and then the same, just twist those all off. Oops. Less is more with the tape, so it doesn't get too sticky. Otherwise, another way to get some sticky off, I don't know if you know this, is just pop a bit of heat on the back. If anything's sticky, and it just comes off. And so I just want to do this 7 times. want to do what they're told. Get those out of the way so I know what I'm working with. I find it easier working from this side, so oops, the wrong one. So this is the only bit that's a bit painstaking, really, just getting all these die cut. Could be a TV job, maybe, you know, just plod away die cutting them with the TV on or listening to something. It's quite good, often listening to something. One more to go. Not too long, really. Out of the way, and then it's a matter of doing exactly the same thing that we did with these flowers, but I'm not using that piece there, just using those 3 pieces, and I'm going to do exactly the same. Pieces on here and get rid of those longish pieces. They look pretty, don't they? All the colours sitting on here. So same thing, just bring that up. This is probably not a mailing out card. Or you could, but it might end up being a little bit flat by the time it gets to where it's going. So you could probably just layer them up flat. This one going in circular motion just brings those up. And then want to do exactly the same, just pop a drop of glue in the bottom of those. And then pick up the next layer, just pop that in, push that, give that a good push, won't hurt it. I've just offset it, tried to offset it a little bit so that the petals are coming out from different angles. So if you like a little bit of construction in your card making, this is a good way to do that. I love the variation in colour you get with watercolouring. See, it's a little bit of interest. We just want another wee dot in the centre of each of those. And then pop those little, actually that could do with, make that a little bit more fluted. I might do with it with all of them, just give a really good push down. So they are all ready to go. So now, probably a good idea to put your bow down so you can work around that. And you just want a glue dot for that. Oh, that's fine, glue dots. They're so strong. I had some stuck to a container the other day, and I tried to get it off. It was really tricky. So sort of about here, pop that down. And I want it to sort of be at the back. Just amazing how you can just fiddle and get it to do hopefully what you want. And then I'm just going to put some dimensionals on that. I'm just going to use the mini ones, and I'm just going to layer them up onto it too high, because I'm just going to cut a couple in half just to clear the bow. If you've got them one on top of the other, it just gives an added bit of height. I'll pop that one down there and then pop another one on top and take those backs off. See, hopefully you can see on there. I'll just get that nice and straight. Pop that on about there. And just trim that a little bit. Just take a wee bit off the bottom. A bit more off here. Just check that's about the same. It is. So it's good. I like to be nice and even. And then with the flowers, just going to pop some glue down, and then do the white ones first. Pop those up. And I haven't on this, but you could pop some little pearls in the centre of the flowers too. I think that would look pretty. And then where we're going to pop the coloured flowers, if you get any glue on anything, if you've got a glue rubber, use that. But if you don't have a glue rubber, just an ordinary rubber will take any residue adhesive off, so you don't get that sort of grubby look from the glue. So I'll just pop one there. I want to tuck one in here, one up here, one sort of over here, one around here, one up here, and one in here. So I'll just get my red, orange, tuck that in there, yellow, might have that over that way a wee bit. Just want to sort of not have them all in a straight line. See, that one goes there, and that one there. And then the last thing to do let's just add the pearls. So I've just got the smallest ones out of the pearls. I like these, they just remind me of little seed pearls. I think they're always elegant. Let's put one in there. Take one up here. And there, and one here. And that is my card completed. So I hope you enjoyed that tutorial, and I look forward to seeing what you make with them. Please tag me if you do, I'd love to see it. Take care, bye for now.